time, and it hasn't changed since that time, that's an incredible building block that can be used to solve a myriad of problems.
Are you getting more attention now that people are starting to realize that you originally came up with blockchaining and it wasn't this anonymous person? Are you starting to get people to realize that, no, that you are actually the initial inventor?
I am, but it's a small group of people so far.
Because it's really a historical thing, right? I mean, to patent something that is going to be kind of the cornerstone of finance and a lot of other industries is a big deal.
Yes, I believe so. This is why when I had I had the invention idea in late 2000, and basically the system as it is now in my patent, I had that figured out by January of 2001, and I immediately applied to law school and started law school in the fall. I changed careers simply because I believed in the power of this idea. And I endured 7 years of, not only law school, but working in law firms, learning how to write patents specifically so that I could get my IP protected and try starting this business.
So do you feel protected now? I mean, you having a patent law degree, do you feel that you're still protected from the big powers that are out there?
Well, there's always battles of resources, so I don't know what that holds in store. But I believe my patents are fairly solid.
So do you expect the big players to come forward and want to license this from you? Is that your plan, or do you want to do it yourself? Implement all this?
I would certainly like to run a portion of it myself. However, if someone were to take a look at my patents, they would see that I've actually described an entire ecosystem. The patents are actually quite detailed and long, and I describe multiple actors within the environment. And so there's room for big players, large companies, banks, law firms, as well as small service providers and software authors. But then what I'd like to do is, basically have the central core of collecting the document records.
So what does that mean? How do we have all these other players involved?
Well, there are all sorts of ways that documents can be selected or processed for recording, and all sorts of different sub-industries. So, for example, currently, if somebody were to have a blockchain that was just distributed randomly and there was no centralized control over membership, then that blockchain could be hijacked by random people, even maybe with malicious intents, just jumping in and throwing in all sorts of entries into the blockchain. So if you were to have a blockchain that was limited to banks as submitters, then the large banks can run that. Same thing with legal documents. You might have a blockchain that is for legal documents, and there's a controlled group of law firms that can submit documents to that, so that the blockchain doesn't become unwieldy, grow too fast, and maintain some degree of quality control.
Well, and that's the same way with Bitcoin. They're controlling the number of Bitcoins and how the ledgers are being created.
There is, however, if you notice a lot in the news, there is a dispute about a potential coming data crunch for Bitcoin. And the reason that can occur is because there is little to no control over who gets to join the community.
What is there a backdoor way of taking over the system, or is it really as secure as people say it is? Because now let's say, if you need 3 people to change the document or multiple people to change the document? Is that accurate?
With my system, nobody can change the document. Once there's been a registration and the edition has been published, nobody on the planet, including me, can make any alterations whatsoever. It is fixed solidly forever.
Can you make a new version?
Somebody can make a new version of a document, but then they would have to resubmit it, and the new version would only appear in the chain after its creation. The earlier version
would still be there.
Would still leave its mark. That's right. And so later on, if there was a dispute as to the contents of that document, it would be easy to identify which of the versions was the earlier version and which one was the modified later version.
Well, but now that's different than with Bitcoin. With Bitcoin, they change ownership, right? Multiple people get together and they can change the ownership of that Bitcoin.
Well, correct. But what happens is it's the ledger that remains fixed. So what happens is when there is a transaction, the transaction is annotated in the ledger. And so what would happen is that later on, if somebody wanted to know who the proper owner of the Bitcoin was, they would look at the ledger and identify, okay, the last person that was on the receiving end is the owner.
Yeah, but couldn't you simulate that transaction? A hacker could simulate the transaction, but you would have the original recording of it. So somebody can say, hey, I didn't do that, but you could still simulate it, right?
Well, with Bitcoin uses digital signatures of the participants in the transaction. So
you could simulate the digital signature if you're smart enough as a hacker, right?
I don't believe currently anybody has the ability to forge those signatures. I know that, the Chinese have been working on using, their supercomputing power to look for ways to crack the SHA family of hash values. And I believe Bitcoin uses the SHA-256. I use two separate hash functions simultaneously, which would make Petal considerably more difficult to forge or crack than Bitcoin.
Interesting. So they could use your system for Bitcoin, couldn't they? If they ended up cracking the blockchaining that is used in Bitcoin, they could switch over to your system, and your system would be even more secure.
Somebody could do so, yes. My system doesn't allow for generation of new Bitcoins, though.
Well, the blockchaining part is the same.
Correct.
Just you would have to add to the implement. They could take your blockchaining part of it and implement it in Bitcoin.
Yes.
The secure part of it. So if China was able to crack that, then they could add your stuff and it would be almost completely, secure. I mean, it would be impenetrable, if that's a word. You couldn't penetrate. Yes.
So if the Chinese cracked the SHA-256, then Petal, as it exists now, could act as a backstop.
Interesting. So people hearing that they're going to like that. So are you in talks with anybody to utilize your technology beyond what you have going on right now with Petal?
Not currently, no.
Nobody in the banking system?
No, not yet. I'd like to be, but I'm not yet.
I think you will be once your name gets out there. I think that it's kind of it should be an exciting time for you. I think once people realize who the real founder of blockchaining is, it'll change your life. Or at the very least, you'll be having speaking arrangements and talking to people about how you can use this technology more and what things you can do. I know my son was just invited. My son's an engineering student at Northwestern University in Chicago, and he was invited to do a seminar at MIT, a thing to learn to understand blockchaining. And so they're teaching all these engineering students all over the country at these top schools blockchaining. And I could just see you going around and teaching people about that, but executives and all sorts of top people. That'd be fun for you, I think, or maybe not. I don't know.
I have written a academic paper that I was trying to get published. Hasn't been published yet. I suppose I could send that to you, and maybe you could give it to your son and see what he thinks about it.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I'd love to see that, and I could forward it on to him. And yeah, well, I think it's exciting. So what else do you have up your sleeve with this stuff?
Well, I actually have a system in which a person can register paper-only documents with Petal, so that later on, if there's no digital version of the document, only a paper copy that needs to be scanned in to a PDF, that document can actually be verified with Petal.
How do you do that? How can you verify that this piece of paper is the piece of paper?
Well, actually what happens is I don't verify a particular piece of paper. What I verify is the information on the paper. And that was actually my first invention, which then spawned Petal. The idea would be that if somebody had a multi-page will, a 5-page will, and page 3 was altered without their knowledge, that later on, if only the paper copy was available, the alteration could be detected using Petal.
We need to take a short break, and we'll be back in a moment after these messages.
Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Pat. The ancient Inca root vegetable maca is world-renowned for its wide array of health benefits. As a family-run company of true maca specialists, the maca team's mission is to provide you with fresh, organic, premium quality maca powders at a fair price. Amazing. All of the products are always organically grown, fair-traded, GMO-free, fresh, and potent. So don't take my word for it. Experience the life-changing benefits of maca today. Visit themacateam.com.
There are so many resources out there for meditation. But did you know that Atana's Heart Earth Healing Meditation is available for you for free? Yes, that's right. You can receive this free healing meditation today from Atana Badili. All you need to do is visit his website, atanamethod.com. That's ATAANA method.com, and sign up. You will receive your free meditation instantly. That's atanamethod.com.
Are you ready for a game changer? Sarah Westall is bringing you Business Game Changers Radio. Sarah brings you leading experts, visionaries, and newsmakers who provide the best commentary on big issues and cutting-edge innovations. Sarah's 20 years as a business executive will help you think like an entrepreneur with expertise, energy, and attitude. Tune in to Business Game Changers Mondays at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Hey everyone, this is Dr. Pat. I am so thrilled. I've had the honor of working with Leslie Fontaine for the past year or so, and what she has created in her hit program, Sheer Alchemy, transcends what most of us get to listen to or hear in any point in time in our lives. But beyond that, Leslie is working with people all over the world, and she has created something phenomenal based on the feedback and input from the archangels, from the ascended masters, from the light beings, and most importantly, from each and every one of you. So if you want to change your life, if you're ready to step into your own version of sheer alchemy, please give Leslie a call at 678-665-3366. And why? Because this is what you're going to be prepared to do. Be amazed, and on your part, connect with the ascended masters that are there to help you custom make the life that you are meant to live.
A word of caution: if you prefer the status quo and you are not interested in improving every aspect of your life, this book will trigger the shift out of you. The Truth is Funny, Shift Happens is available now. Author Colette Steffen brings the powerful knowledge and life-changing energy and empowerment from the radio airwaves to the pages of her new book. To get your copy in paperback or ebook, visit thetruthisfunny.com today.
Welcome back. I'm Sarah Westall, and you're listening to Business Game Changers. Hey, I wanted to remind you that you can reach my radio show on over 100 different digital channels. We are streaming live on TransformationTalkRadio.com and WBLQ.net. And on all your favorite podcast channels, you should be able to find the show. We are also live on terrestrial radio on WBLQ 1230 AM, one of the only stereo AM stations on the East Coast out of New York, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. So hopefully you will be able to find us on one of your favorite channels. And we are going to get back to our interview with Kels Wilson, but I wanted to give you some contact information. You can reach him. Well, all of this will be on my radio page at sarahwestall.com. So if you want to find